Hello, SuperCoaches. A massive round 3 teams day. Plus, it's the biggest trading week of the year with player prices changing after this round. I could use at least 6 trades this week and still not be satisfied. Wilson Smith, how are you travelling?
Not too bad. I'm in the same boat as well. There's easily 5 trades that I could make. So I'll definitely be boosting this week. And team did pretty well last week, even though I didn't start or reserve Luke Metcalf.
Oh, wow. We talked about that all last week as well.
Yeah.
And your side, how many trades do you need?
I need about 3 in my back row as it is, and then the rest. So maybe 6 will do.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can sort something out. I'll definitely be boosting this week. On to the biggest takeaway from this week's teams. What are you thinking, Wills?
Biggest one for me is Tom Trbojevic being named. I think there's still a lot of risk here, especially considering Manly are playing the last game of the round. So if you're sticking with him, you've got to have a backup plan. But the fact that he's named is promising at least.
Tamale for me on the wing for the Raiders. He's going to make a lot of coin. They've scored 30 points both their games, the Raiders, so they've got a bit of attack in them. So, Tamale being named.
Yep, Tamale's coming in for me. My biggest takeout, definitely Tom Duffy not being named for the Cowboys. He's been dropped. I think he does need to get traded. You can go up to someone like Humphries, or you could go to the hooker from the Raiders as well. Or with the right jewels, you could probably trade him for almost anyone in any position. So he will be out from my side this week. The other things to point out, Jack Gajewski was training. Pete Bedell, our reporter up there in Brisbane, was at training. Gajewski was training in the opposed team, so suggesting that he'd been dropped or was maybe on the bench. Then the team comes out today and the Goz is there in the back row starting. You'd have to think that he's a big watch for late mail.
Yeah, there's definitely a chance last minute that he could be benched. So definitely some concerns there, and I'm glad I don't have him in my team.
Yeah, we've been telling you to avoid him all pre-season. The other thing, Matt Burton's out. Anyone catch Matt Burton's injury?
No.
Nah, so he's out for a couple of weeks with the knee. Dylan Edwards is out, and I left this one to last. Zach Hosking, 4 to 6 with that wrist injury.
Yeah, it hurts, mate. He looked really good to start the year, and especially in the middle. I was a bit devo when I saw him named in the middle on when they played on the week, but he punched out 63, pretty much all in base. But yeah, broken hand out for about a month, 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm going to have to sell him, which breaks my heart.
There is a silver lining there, and it's that Matty Nicholson has retained his starting spot on the edge. He scored 98 on his NRL debut. If he backs that up again, he'll be pretty much a must-have for next week. Is he on your radar?
Yeah, definitely for next week. And this week, he's a must pick up in draft. He's only in about 2% of teams, I'm pretty sure. So definitely must pick him up in all your draft leagues if he's there.
Jeez, you can run a sharp line too, can't you? You got those 2 tries. You only got 3. So, certainly on my radar.
The move you put on Ben Hunt was pretty damn good.
It was electric, wasn't it?
We've got, so your SuperCoach Plus trial ran out today. So the reason you're not seeing projections and the green dots next to players who've been named, all that sort of stuff, ownership percentages, captain percentages, most traded in, most traded out, the reason you're not seeing that is because your free trial has run out. I suggest you get in there, sign up, $29.95 for the year. Or the other option is to get the full code subscription, get all the articles, get absolutely everything SuperCoach, plus the stats for only $59 for the year, $1 a week. I reckon it's a bargain. The first game of the week is the Storm v the Panthers. So at the Storm, Nelson Asafa-Solomona is in reserves, back from suspension. Warbrick's got a concussion, so Anderson is on the wing. They're back after the bye. Cameron Munster, very tempting, particularly with a lot of people looking to sell Matt Burton. And he could be, if you can free up enough money, a good trade for Tom Duffy as well.
Yeah, especially all the Matt Burton owners. I think that's an easy trade. He's someone I would like to get in, but there's so many trades I want to make, so I'll be sticking with my 5/8 for now.
I like both the Storm players. I just I'd like to wait a week because they don't go up or down in price till next week, and they got Penrith, who obviously got 38 put on them on the weekend, so they're going to be fired up for a big defensive performance.
Yeah, Pappenhausen, I at one stage had him in my team, in for Tom Trbojevic. I think I'm going to hold Trbojevic and wait for Pappenhausen because, as you say, it's a tough matchup this weekend. On to the Panthers, obviously no Dylan Edwards, so Dane Laurie gets the fullback spot. Papali is back. Interesting to see that Blaze Talangi doesn't get that free bench spot. It goes to Brad Schneider. I thought that was an interesting call. Talangi's going to have to play reserves and just learn the Panthers system before he gets a crack.
Yeah, I have him in one of my draft leagues. I've just been hoarding him on the bench, and I think I might actually have to drop him this week.
Yeah.
So pretty devastated about that. And yeah, I mean, it's a bit surprising given how good he looked last year. And we all thought he was going to start round 1, and he's still not there.
Yep, indeed. So Cleary ended up with only 80 on the weekend. The BE is 109. No thought of selling, but how's he go against the Storm?
Oh, you think he'd go right. He's going to fire up off the back of what they did on the weekend. He's a big game player, Nathan Cleary, maybe except for a few Origin games, but you know he's going to fire up. He's still got 80 and they got beat. So, yeah. The guy I'm pretty keen on is Dane Laurie, though.
Yeah.
Last year, he had scores of 111, 128, 134 and 97 when he filled in for Dylan Edwards. I don't think I'll trade him in this week, but I reckon I'm definitely going to get him next week.
Huge draft play
Yeah,
as
definitely.
well. On to Casey McLean. So there was some chat floating around that he would be dropped. That hasn't happened. We'll keep an eye on it for late mail. Some chat that Jenkins would come in on the wing, but we'll chase that up for you. Next match is the Warriors v the Roosters. At the Warriors, no changes there. Mitch Barnett is a really popular sell. The break-even is 111, projected to drop by 44k. I think if you own him, he has to go. The minutes just haven't quite been there.
Yeah, especially compared to last year where he's a lot more consistent. This year it's just not looking good for him, so I would move on to him as well. Move on to Payne Haas this week if you can.
Why not?
I reckon if you got him and you don't have Tino's straight in.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a lot cheaper than Payne, and he's turned up on the weekend in his first game in a while, so yeah.
What are we doing with Demetric Valmunga? Only averaging, so it's 17 points in 15 minutes. 15 minutes per game, you can't do anything in SuperCoach. He's actually projected to drop in price, even though he's almost bottom dollar. His break-even is 40. I don't see any harm in him just sitting there, though. I think he's passed the eye test. I'm happy to hold. I won't be doing anything. He might become Matty Nicholson next week, but for now, I've got bigger problems.
Yeah, that's the same for me. Like, I would ideally like to get rid of him, but I've got bigger problems as well and more trades I want to make. He's someone I think I'll look to trade in the future, but for now, like, as much as it pains me, I think I just have to keep him and cop the potential loss.
Yeah, too many fires in back row for me to put out. I do like what I see from him when he's on the field, even though it's very limited opportunities. As you said, 17 points in 15 minutes, so his output is okay.
The minutes just aren't there.
Surely they're going to be there eventually because he's a young gun coming through. You know, if they're not going to play Barnett massive minutes, surely give this bloke a crack.
Yeah, but a couple of injuries and it could be a lot different there. Of course, we've mentioned Metcalf, but let's have a quick little gloat about not selling Metcalf last week. Onto the Roosters. They've got 3 big guns back. So Lindsay Collins, Spencer Leniu, Victor Radley, who's named at lock, not on the edge. So 3 middles back. Nafahu White still starts at prop. So good news for our SuperCoach cheapie mid-ranger.
Yeah, I suppose he looked good last week and they got the surprise win, so Trent Robertson must just be happy with him. And the minutes have been pretty good, and he'll be a bit of a slow burn, but it's good news for him. Yep,
definitely holding him. He'll rise. He won't rise much in price, but he's a solid third front row forward option to have there every week.
Robert Toya is a must. Sandon Smith is probably overachieved compared to what we were hoping, so he's a must if you don't own him. And Teddy turning up on the weekend, only owned by 3% of SuperCoaches. He's just going to be a huge buy at some stage.
Yeah, especially if people decide they want to get rid of Tommy Trbojevic, he could be a massive pod.
Yep, go straight to him if you don't want to risk having Turbo on Sunday.
Yep.
Next match is the Broncos v the Cowboys. At the Bronx, they've got Katoni Staggs on the extended bench, so he could potentially return from that quad injury. Some sites are saying that Gearmatch Shibasaki could be the guy that drops out. I think it'll be Dean Mariner, who's been playing right centre. I think the Shib is safe. Jesse Arthur's really popular too. The numbers are good. Break even minus 82. Projected rise of 114k just this week. Are you going to bring him in?
He's one of those guys that I desperately want to bring in. If I had more trades, I would. But I think just with injuries and other stuff, I can't go him. But if I had more trades, I would for sure.
I'd love to bring him in.
Don't you have him?
No, I don't have him. I went with Shibasaki instead
right.
at the start of the year. Does this worry you at all? You got Katoni Staggs there on the extended bench.
Yeah.
I know Shibasaki sort of had that locked down. But Dean Mariner looked so good on the weekend. Like, he brought them back into it. If Staggs is sort of healthy, does that worry you at all with Shibasaki?
Definitely. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful that they sort of give Staggs another week, so we can at least get one
something.
price rise out of one of them before they make any decisions.
Yeah.
But it definitely concerns me for sure.
Scared the daylight out of me earlier.
As I mentioned, Gazewski has been named to start, but watch late mail there. Kobe Hetherington is only set to make 26k.
Yeah.
Corey Pake's only set to make 44k. So there's some cheapies here that are only just paying their way so far. I think the big question there at the Bronx, though, is if you own Reece Walsh, do you sell? Only 9 points on the weekend. That's got to be the worst. That's got to be the worst of his career, right?
It definitely have to be up there. Maybe not the Origin performance where he got KO'd immediately. Not that counts as Supercoach, but I think a lot of people are going to move off him this week, and I think there's actually an opportunity there. They've got the Cowboys, so it's a really juicy matchup, and I think if people moving away from him and Tom Trbojevic owners want to move down, they could potentially, it's risky and scary considering he only got 9 points last week, but it could be a decent option. Yeah,
there's no chance I'd sell him. You bought him for a reason. Yeah. Stick to your reasons why you bought him. I wouldn't buy him with that 9 in his rolling average, but there's no chance I'd sell him. He's got the upside of one of the best fullbacks in the game.
Hopefully in 3 or 4 weeks' time, when Turbo actually does his hammy and it's not just a bit of tightness, then Walsh should be an absolute bargain. Cowboys, Tom Duffy out. I think are we selling? Are we all selling him? I think he is.
I don't have him. I avoided him.
Oh, that's very lucky.
I avoided him purely for this reason, and it's come to fruition. So I'm glad in my vindication.
Yep, straight to Jamie Humphries for me. Yep. I think that's the edgiest trade I can make this week.
Yeah, so, I'm liking Humphries, either Tom Starling, if with the right jewels, because I've got Sandon Smith. Or if I can create enough cash, Cameron Munster could be the guy. He's the one I want. Jackson Purdue, second most popular sell. I don't quite get it, particularly with all this stuff that's popped up in Teams Day as well. I think he'll come down that list a little bit. Just needs one try. They've got another halfback in there. Some okay matchups coming up. I think the money will come. It's just going to be a bit slower than we want.
Yeah, like you said, all it takes is one try, and he'll deliver. It's just going to be a slow price rise for now, but for me he's a hold, and I've got bigger priorities, and I'm sure lots of super coaches do as well. Yeah,
well, he got that try on the weekend, but it was off a kick, so he didn't get the line break for it, and then he got sin bin obviously, so that sort of brings his price down too. But I really like him. When he chased down Stone Street, that sort of didn't like that, but but yeah, he's a competitor. He's got a lot of talent. No chance I'll be selling Purdue, but yeah.
If you watched him in the trial, you can see that he's an absolute goat. So it's gonna happen for him. Sharkies v the Rabbitohs, same 17 for the Sharkies. Thoughts on Adam Fanua-Blake? You're a Sharkies fan. The minutes are a fair way down, so 49 minutes average this year. Only 2 games, of course, so a small sample size. At the Warriors, he was averaging 60 minutes. So the first game, he obviously got a good score because he scored a try. Last week, only 46 in 49 minutes. Yeah,
it's the only reason I don't have Fanua-Blake. When we first signed him, I was like, he's straight on my SuperCoach team. But then I heard all the chatter that he's not going to play a 60-minute role. We've never really had a 60-minute front row at Cronulla since Paul Gallen. I wouldn't. There's so many more options there at front row forward. He's going to hemorrhage in cash. So
Paul Gallen played halfback for you guys, didn't he?
Oh, Paul Gallen played everything, mate. I'd sell at AFB if you had him.
Nico Hines is an interesting one because he was back kicking goals, which is good, but the BE is pretty big at 96. Any temptation to sell?
Yeah, I'm actually considering selling this week, downgrading to Jamie Humphries to upgrade elsewhere, which is crazy, I know. But I have moves that I want to make and I need cash. So that's one move I could make that helps me upgrade elsewhere.
What are your thoughts on this?
I think he's going to go huge in the next 2 weeks. Cronulla's attack looked so poor on the weekend. They were so clunky, flat-footed. They're going to click into gear eventually. Nico gets the goal kicking back. I think he's just going to start to go big. And everyone's going to sell him. Yep. And I'm going to captain him this week. And he's going to get 150. And everyone that sells him...
That is coaching with your heart.
Yeah. We'll see.
Onto the Bunnies. Jamie Humphries, he is one of the most popular purchases this week. BE of -25, projected rise 67k. he is much more than just biceps and quads. He looks like a seriously good player. And the issue I've got against him is that he kicked the field goal to beat my Dragons on the weekend. So I'm holding that against him.
Yeah, and the only sort of question mark he sort of had over him as a buy was job security with Lewis Dodd looming, but he got injured in New South Wales Cup on the weekend, so the only question mark over Jamie Humphries is gone now, so he looks like a great buy to me.
Yep, he's only going to get better too. That was his third game on Saturday, third first grade game to kick the field goal and Win Stadium on a windy day, so that's not easy to do.
Were you there at Win Stadium?
No, I was working on Saturday, mate. But I wish I was there. It looked awesome. 30 degrees. But yeah, Jamie Humphries.
I just wanted to know if Jamie Humphries looks as good in real life as he does on TV.
I wish I could have been there to see him, but yeah.
Lachlan Hubner, so suspended for 2 weeks. I think he is still a hold. Projected to rise by 44k next round. And then Peter Moazelos. I didn't like what I saw in round one. Barely ran the ball, and then in round two started running. There were 6 runs in there. Got a try assist. He's going to go up by 80k this week, so pretty happy with Moazelos.
It was a rare Damien Cook-like performance for him.
Yeah.
He's very rarely done that for the Bunnies in the past, and I don't have him in my team because, what we saw in round one, I was concerned, and looks good on the weekend. So everyone who had him, I'm sure, was pretty happy with him now.
I potted him more than any other player, and when he scored 95 on the weekend, a few of my good mates were getting into me about it.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is I feel like his minutes have been inflated because Bud Sullivan's had to come on and fill in for other players.
Yeah.
He came on and filled in for Jairo on the weekend, and I think Jamie Humphries defended at back row, and then the week before that was Tyrone Munro. So I'm still not convinced that he plays the amount of minutes that he has been playing, but he looks good. He's going to make money.
Look, I wouldn't go out of my way and buy him, but owners are happy, and he can become Harry Grant in, let's say, 2-3 weeks.
Yep, 100%.
On to the Dolphins v Tigers. So the Dolphins have the same 17, but they got Bostock and Fini Fuiaki in the reserves, so they could come into the side. There's 2 guys who I had my eye on who've fallen over really as buyers. Tom Gilbert, only 47 on the weekend, so he's not going to make much cash. And then Max Plath, only 49 in 80 minutes. Had my eye on them, but have put my line through them.
Yeah, same. They were standouts in round one. They both looked really, really good. But from what we saw last week, there's massive question marks over them now. So, yeah, you can scratch them off your watch list.
Yeah. I've got Gilbert. I'm going to happily hold him. I wouldn't want Max Plath. I'd prefer him if he was playing in the middle, but he just doesn't seem like he's going to get that base on the edge, does he?
Onto the Tigers, they got Buller named despite him being in a moon boot after that game on the weekend. Terrell May is the new Paul Gallen. Discuss.
Well, I mean, he's an absolute gun. I want to make moves to get Payne Haas in my team, but with Terrell May and Corey Horsburgh, there's an argument that you don't really need Payne Haas. They're both just absolutely killing it.
Yep.
It was so hot there when they play Sunday, and he played 55, 60 minutes straight, and he was in everything. Don't know how he did it, and they didn't have a drinks break. So
it was an insane performance.
Yeah.
So, look, I mean, he's only the 6th or 7th most popular player. He should be right.
He should be the first.
For sure.
On to Jerome Luai. Thoughts on him? So the Tigers looked horrible for the first 30 minutes, then just turned on the razzle-dazzle and looked sensational for the rest of the game, basically. Amongst all that, Jerome Luai didn't do much, only got 20-odd points. He is the 4th most sold player. He's going to drop in price. The break-even is 111. I'd be selling. I agree with this trade.
Yeah, I think
Galvin's the guy you want.
Sell him straight to Galvin if you got him.
Yeah.
Or if you want, you can downgrade to Jamie Humphries. There's lots of plays you can make there, and I'd be moving on for sure.
Jeez, Galvin's good. He reminds me of Nico Hines a bit in the way he accumulates SuperCoach points, just sort of running across the field, palming off blokes, getting a few tackle busts. He's a competitor like that. Assist he got on the weekend was off the back of Luai's kick through the middle. That was awesome. I really want him, but I just can't get him.
Their spine's looking really good with Buller and Coruscant and Luai, Galvin. They could turn their attacking woes around this year. Royce Hunt, so the most popular prop cheapie in SuperCoach. He's playing okay minutes. It's around 30 minutes, but his PPM has just dived since he got to the Tigers. He now has a break even of 33, so he could lose money.
Yeah, for me, he's sort of similar to Dimitri Vanamunga, that he's someone you want to get rid of at some point, but just not an urgent sell for now. But yeah, the fact that he's going to lose cash is very not ideal.
Yeah. Who are you going to sell him to? Oh, there's no one to sell him to.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You just got to hold him and hope he sneaks a try in somewhere.
Next up, we have the Titans via the Knights. AKP, that's Alofiana Khan-Pereira, out with a hamstring injury, which means Tony Francis comes onto the wing. He's at cheapie price, so keep an eye on him. If AKP.
Yeah, AKP, yeah.
Too many three-letter acronyms.
Just go with the full names. But Tony Francis could be a cheapie option down the track, so have a look for him. Our man, Dave Fafita. Titans getting smashed and Fafita's just sitting on the bench. Only played 30-odd minutes. I would be selling this week, but I've got bigger problems elsewhere, so I'm going to hold. Hope that Des Hasler wakes up on the other side of the bed this week and plays. Even if it's off the bench, all we need is 60 minutes.
Yeah, Jeez, it was frustrating every time the Fox camera would pan and you'd see the Titans bench and you'd see Fafita still on there. And then when Tino went for his second spell and Fafita was still on the bench, I was thinking, geez, this bloke ever going to get on the field? And then he finally gets on with 25, 30 minutes to go and he gets 31. It's a respectable score, but you don't want to be paying $750K for a back rower.
Well,
that plays 30 minutes.
thankfully there's no price drop until next week, given they had the buy in round 1. So you can stick it out for another week. Speaking of Tino, how bloody good.
He's so good.
I somehow did not own him from round 1. He'll be in for me this week. Hopgood out and Tino in. You can't go without him. You can wait another week, but...
I mean, it was risky starting the season with him, given that he was coming back from an ACL and they had the round 1 bye, but it's immediately paid off with a ton on the weekend, and he looks really good, so he's a must purchase.
I was worried that he'd be eased back minutes-wise,
Yeah.
but he had 2 stints in the first half. I think it was 55 minutes with 60 in pure base. Throw the try on top of that and you get a ton. On to the Knights. So, thoughts on Ponga as a purchase? He has the bye next week, but if you're selling Tom Trbojevic, would you go to Ponga? He's got a pretty good schedule except for that bye.
Yeah, I mean, it throws a spanner into the works, but I think he's definitely still a great purchase. He's got a great matchup this week, and with Cleary up against Storm, I think Ponga is like the standout captaincy choice, so I could get around it for sure.
Yeah, he looks like the best player in SuperCoach through 2 rounds at the moment. So, yeah, if you don't have him, I think you should get him in. He looks so good.
Speaking of the best player in SuperCoach, I think that the best centre winger in SuperCoach, even though he's playing in the back row, is Dylan Lucas. His base is sensational. So the base is base plus power, 68 per game. So his floor is basically a good score for any other centre wing. Plus, you've got good attacking players in that team. I own him. I'd be very tempted to get him in because I think he will top the centre wing position this year.
Yeah, it's a definite possibility. I think the fact that you can get a forward and stick him in your centre wing is a massive plus for SuperCoach. He's someone I would like in my team, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it work. But yeah, he definitely could finish up as the top centre wing of the year.
Yeah, maybe just behind Sammy Stone Street, but certainly top 3. I want Dylan Lucas just because he's got that duel, and it's so handy. I wish I had a duel this week just to flip around and have flexibility in my trades.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing this week. I'm selling Hetherington actually and putting Lucas up, and then I can buy Tamale.
You can almost add 50k in value just by the fact of having that centre wing second row duel. I didn't want 3 Knights at the start of the year, but I think I'm going to have 3 Knights because Dylan Lucas looks bloody good.
Yep, and the third one I assume is Greggy Marzu, so shout out to him.
Yep.
84 on the weekend without a big attacking stat. He's got 9 tackle busts, 6 offloads. It's just huge.
Yep.
The only issue is that he's hanging outside Bradman Best, who
doesn't like the pass.
He's as good a player as he
doesn't
is.
like the pass.
He does like to score the try himself. Eels v the Bulldogs. So Dean Hawkins is in for Volkman, is the big news teams-wise. They've got Josh Adokar in reserves as well. Jermaine Hopgood, 5th most popular sell, just hasn't happened for him or the Eels, to be honest. Big price drop coming up. So he's out for me.
Yeah, I agree that Eels look pretty terrible at the moment, and the attacking upside's not there for him. He's making a lot of tackles because of how bad Parramatta are playing, but it's still just not enough for what you paid for him, so I think he's got to go.
Yep, I'd sell him. I got Jack Williams in draft, so that's about a silver lining with the Eels, but I wouldn't be buying anyone on their team. I'd be selling any of them if you have them. So.
Speaking of Dylan Brown, popular sell. What are your thoughts on that? His BE's 99, so projected to drop by 27k. It's not huge, but you can just bite the bullet this week and go to Munster.
Yeah, I mean, as far as 5/8s go, Dylan Brown's base is really good, but you really need the attacking upside for him, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen for Parramatta this week. So it's a pretty easy switch to Munster for me if you can afford it.
Yeah.
And then at the Doggies, you got Matt Burton out with Bailey Hayward playing in the halves. Good versatile play there. And then Viliami Kikau out. Stili Tupanua takes that spot. Does that make him a SuperCoach pod?
He's in my team. I'm going to sell Hosking to him. He's got that 100
nice.
in his rolling average when he turned up in round 1. So he's only got a break even of 1. So he's definitely going to make money after this week. He's just a try scoring machine. Even when he was at the Roosters all those years, he always seems to find a way to cross the line. And it does hurt that Matt Burton's not there. So will they go right more? Then they go left because he'll probably play left. Or Preston could play left because he has.
They
in the
could
past.
switch him around.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. Buy him.
I think it's a sneaky pod.
Yeah.
Really good
Massive
pod.
draft play as well if he's still available.
Sea Eagles v the Raiders. So all eyes on Tommy Trbojevic. He's been named. DCE has been named as well. We'll be chasing this all week for late mail. So keep an eye on that. People will just be refreshing that all day. And look, the PV is going to be huge on that. Cooler and TKO Takiaho are in the team as well. What are you doing with Trbojevic? I own him. I'm going to hold. And then I've got Ayongi who plays on the Sunday as well. It's the game before, but hopefully we'll have a really good indication. If Turbo's out, I'll just switch Ayongi into the fullback slot.
Yeah, that's the same thing that I'm planning for now. If we get confirmation in the coming days that Tommy won't actually play, then he is a potential sell. But from all indications, it doesn't seem too bad of an injury. It sort of just seems precautionary, but the fact that it's happening this early in the season means the inevitable could happen at any point. But for now, I'm holding.
Yep, I've got a plan, and from now until Sunday, I'm going to pray to the rugby league gods because I need him. I got him. He's my number 1 pick in draft, and I got him in this, and I don't want to sell him. You couldn't sell him, and then he plays, and then he does the Tommy Turbo and absolutely tears up.
Exactly.
My rule is always to captain Turbo at Brookvale,
Yeah.
and this game is at Brookvale, so I should be doing it, but I don't think I can with this injury cloud hanging over him. On to the Raiders. Tamale's the big news, and Hosking out. Matty Nicholson is a good cheapie option for next week, but the real thing here is Tom Starling. He's moved up since I wrote that. I think he's the 3rd most purchased player. We've got a lot of good cheapie hookers this year, but it looks like Starling is the top. He's going to go up by 84k. I like it. You can go. Most people, or a lot of people, would be able to go Duffy to Starling.
Yeah, he's someone I'm looking to bring in this week. I think, like you said, we've got a ton of cheapie hookers, but of all of them, he's by far got the most attacking upside. A decent matchup against Manly this week, and looks set to make a ton of cash. And I think the job security is good, so I really like it.
Yep, I like it too. I like Jamie Humphries more. So if I had Duffy, I'd be selling Jamie Humphries too.
That's actually the first question we've got come through. Starling or Humphries this week. I think it's a 50-50 call. I don't think I'll go for either. Is there any news on what's happening with Nat Butcher? He had, I think it was a stomach issue. He's been in hospital recently, so that's been the issue with him. Trade Garrick to Tamale. Would you do that?
Well,
Garrick with no Turbo in the side.
Especially if we find out that Turbo's not playing. Garrick didn't have a great performance last week, and that's one way to free up a ton of cash and make all the other trades that you want to make. So there's an argument for it, but Garrick, he could go big at any time.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that you just pick at the start of the season and set and forget. Only trade him out if and when he gets injured.
I didn't think about it on that, but I actually might do it. Because I got to trade someone out to get Tamale, and I don't want to trade Leotau. I don't want to trade Stone Street or Marju, so it might have to be Garrick.
Huge. Your raps on Stone Street is
he scored 110.
He's good.
You can't knock him. And he should have scored a hat-trick.
Your love for him and Nico Hines cracks me up.
Stone Street's my favourite player. So,
what have we got here? Considering Hines to Starling. What do you reckon about that?
Yeah, well,
obviously you're going to say.
Don't ask me.
It's something I'm considering. I've got Garrick as well, and those are the two sort of players that I'm tossing up, selling to free up the cash. So I'm a bit torn, but I'm sort of lean selling Nico more at this point, just to bring in Jamie Humphries and make some
Don't
cash.
do it to yourself. You're going to hate life when he plays.
I will hate it.
You're going to hate life when he plays. It'll be like Cleary on Friday night having to turn off the telly when he was on. But, yeah.
And our final question, we've got Dylan Lucas or Tino this week. The way I'd go about that is Lucas this week, and then Tino's price is not going to change until the week after. So you get Tino the week after that.
Yeah, nailed it. You can get both.
Yep, I agree.
Lovely. All right, well, huge teams day today. Lots covered by Wilson Smith and Jet Hatton. We'll catch you tomorrow for the preview podcast. See you then.